Chapter 90. Erotic treatment. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The golden fire bird saw that Feng Yun didn't even have the slightest reaction after its fireball hit him. Its yellow pupils dilated and showed a curious look. The golden fire bird was very proud of its flame, but it didn't have the slightest effect on Feng Yun. The golden fire bird chirped loudly, and in one breath spat out 7 or 8 fireballs that rapidly flew towards Feng Yun. Feng Yun accepted it all. But it still has no effect on him. Feng Yun looked at the golden fire bird, thinking about his demonic flame. The golden fire bird was a fire element bird, maybe it attracted towards the flame. As Feng Yun thought about this, the demonic flame appeared in his left hand, showing to the golden fire bird. The golden fire bird looked at the demonic flame of Feng Yun, revealed a curious look. It could feel that the strength of Feng Yun's flame was not lower than its own flames, the demonic flame giving him a sense of intimacy. "Relax, I'm here to help," Feng Yun said. Tried to communicate with the golden fire bird because he knew that the saint beast could understand the human language. The golden fire bird seemed to understand Feng Yun. It stared at Feng Yun for a while, then took a step back. Feng Yun slowly stepped forward toward the golden fire bird. Feng Yun stretched out his right hand towards the golden fire bird to touch its head. The golden fire bird stared at Feng Yun's palm for a good while, lowering its head allowed Feng Yun to touch its head. Feng Yun was delighted. He never imagined he would be able to see a saint beast on this trip, even touching one. Feng Yun slowly caressed the head of the golden fire bird. Its feathers were so soft and warm, giving a very comfy feeling. After Feng Yun moved closer to the woman, she was still unconscious now. Feng Yun checked her injuries. Feng Yun first checked the wound with divine sense. There was very formidable ice chi was in the body of the woman, trying to destroy the woman's inner organs, and the woman's flame chi was resisting it. Because of the collision between flame chi and ice chi, the injuries of the red-haired woman were getting worse. Feng Yun retreated his divine sense, tried to wake up the woman, but even after trying sometimes she didn't awake. After some try, Feng Yun stopped, left with no other choice, had to heal her while she was unconscious. Feng Yun however felt awkward at this time. This woman had a deep wound on her body, and this wound was on her left breast. This wound at one of the most sensitive locations of the woman. While was applying the medicine, if by any chance, this woman woke up, then he would die within a second. Feng Yun hesitated for a moment, then he extended his hand, slowly touching her soft breast. The woman's soft breast was especially tall and straight and well knit, and elasticity of these breasts were absolutely the best grade. His big hand finally came into contact with the soft and white creamy breast of this young girl, and his hand was filled with elasticity. Unconsciously the hand of Feng Yun was pressed down on the left breast of this woman. Losing himself in pleasure feeling, he caressed his hand on her breast. Chirp! The light chirp of the golden fire bird suddenly startled woke him up. Feng Yun took a deep breath, then stabilized his swaying state of mind, focusing on the wound. Feng Yun slowly poured his demonic flame into the body of the woman, helping the woman's fire chi to destroy the ice chi. He controlled the demonic flame with divine sense so it won't burn the woman or her clothes. As the demonic flame entered the body of the woman, it soon blended with the flame chi of the woman and started fighting with the ice chi. Under the dual suppression, the ice chi became violently restless. The woman groaned with pain, panicking Feng Yun, as he thought she was woken up, but when he saw her face, she was still unconscious. Feng Yun took a breath of relief, then continued pouring the demonic flame. Although Feng Yun's cultivation was low, his demonic flame was powerful enough that could weaken the ice chi, and the rest will be handled by the flame chi of the woman. Slowly ice chi started to extinguish. It took 2 hours' time to completely eliminating the ice chi inside the body of the woman. After Feng Yun instantly retreated his hand and demonic flame, gasped, a few drops of sweat appeared on the forehead. It took Feng Yun quite of effort to help her. Feng Yun stared at her face that was started turning normal, a little rosier with time. He was mesmerized by her beautiful face. Feng Yun held his desire to kill her lips with great difficulties, because of the fear of getting killed by her in anger. Now he cured her biggest problem. For rest, he didn't have to worry about her outer skin wounds. After reaching her cultivation stage, normally these wounds would heal after some time. After Feng Yun moved towards the golden fire bird, taking out some best healing pills that Feng Yun had, feed them to the golden fire, combined with the impressive healing power of a saint beast. The injuries of the golden fire bird started to heal, but its condition was healthy enough to fly with the weight of the woman. Feng Yun thought about the profound ice fruit. The woman hasn't come for the profound ice fruit, so it should still on the snow mountain somewhere. Hey, can you help me to find a spirit fruit? Just tell me the location of the most powerful spirit beast in the snow mountain. Feng Yun caressed the head of the golden fire bird and asked. Spirit beasts have incredible senses. If there was any powerful beast in the snow mountain, the golden fire bird could find it easily. There was a high chance that the profound ice fruit should be guarded by the spirit beast. The golden fire bird rubbed his head against the chest of Feng Yun, then stared at the depth of the cave. Feng Yun curiously looked at the direction pointed by the golden fire bird. Because Feng Yun's attention was on the woman and the golden fire bird, he didn't even look at the entire cave. Really? Feng Yun was stupefied. He discovered a 3-feet-long tree, which had a white fruit size of 2 inches, looked like a peach. The spiritual energy contained within the white spirit fruit was extremely pure. Feng Yun hastily moved towards the spirit tree and plucked the white fruit. It's emitting a strong water element energy. Chapter 91. The profound ice fruit. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Because of the water element's spiritual energy, Feng Yun was able to confirm that it was indeed the profound ice fruit. Feng Yun immediately placed the profound ice fruit in the pocket. Feng Yun was curious first because there should a formidable beast guarding the profound ice fruit, because a high-ranked spiritual treasure not only beneficial to the human cultivator but also beneficial to the spirit beasts. High-ranked natural treasures emitted a dense spiritual chi which increased the cultivation process. That's why the spirit beasts live near the spiritual treasures. But soon he understood, it because of the presence of the saint beast, the spirit beast that guarding here run away from fear. Thinking of the profound ice fruit in the storage ring, Feng Yun thought this was quite funny. He searched in the snow mountain for so many days and didn't find any clue about the profound ice fruit, but now it suddenly appeared in front of him. You rest and heal first. There are a few things that I have to do, so I'll be leaving for a while. I will also bring you food. Feng Yun came to the golden fire bird and said. The golden fire bird looked at Feng Yun with reluctant eyes. Guard her well, until I came back. Okay. Feng Yun smiled slightly and said. After walking out of the cave, running for a while, Feng Yun entered the Black Pagoda for giving the profound ice fruit to Yan Qiu. Entering the Black Pagoda, Feng Yun came in front of the wooden house of Yan Qiu. It's me, Feng Yun. Feng Yun knocked on the door. And not long after, with a faint delicate fragrance, a familiar figure came out from the house. Her hair hung down loosely and wearing a light blue cloak stood at the doorway. Seeing the enchanting appearance of Yan Qiu, Feng Yun lost his spirit for a brief moment. The charm of mature women was something green girls were not capable of reaching. Seeing Feng Yun fixedly staring at her, Yan Qiu was rather angry and was also somewhat bashful and happy. She couldn't bear it but reached out her jade hand to knock the head of Feng Yun, and said while feigning angry, "What are you staring at? Did you find this old woman's figure attractive? Where have you grown old, mother.in.law? You are truly beautiful." Feng Yun said, "Okay, less nonsense, why have you came?" Yan Qiu's cheek turned red. After listening to Feng Yun, hiding her bashful expression, she asked. "I have found the profound ice fruit." Feng Yun said with a grin on his face, seeing her blushed face, before taking out the profound ice fruit. Really? Yan Qiu was completely stunned. Looking at the glittering, translucent peach exuding a faint white light, releasing a strong water element chi. She was speechless for a long time. Even though she had a little hope, she didn't think that he was actually able to find the profound ice fruit so soon. How did you find it so soon? Yen Qiu asked with a surprised voice. This profound ice fruit has to be guarded by the Gold Realm beast or even an Earth Realm spirit beast. With just his foundation establishment cultivation, he would be immediately killed once his location was discovered. How did he safely go in and come out unscathed? It was just a lucky coincidence. Feng Yun said, "Here, take this, and heal yourself soon." Feng Yun put the profound ice fruit in the hand of Yen Qiu and left her wooden house. If he stayed for a while, then he might start having lascivious thoughts about her. Yen Qiu looked at the profound ice fruit in her hand, an unreal feeling emerged in her heart. After a while, a brilliant smile appeared on her face. Feng Yun came out of the Black Pagoda and went to the mountain slide to find food for the Golden Fire Bird. Just as Feng Yun left the cave, soon the red-haired woman opened her eyes. She saw that she was still in the cave and there was only the Golden Fire Bird other than her in the cave. Chirp, chirp, the Golden Fire Bird tweeted loudly with happiness. When the woman opened her eyes, it rubbed its head against the face of the red-haired woman. "Little Gold." The red-haired woman called out, as she saw the Golden Fire Bird. After playing for a while with the Golden Fire Bird, she took out 2 healing pills, the pills grade far higher than any ordinary Earth-ranked medicine pill. After eating the pills, her complexion started to become normal, her external wounds also started to heal, leaving no scars behind. The red-haired woman checked her injuries, stunned as she found out that there was no ice chi in her body now, but there were some traces of the demonic flame inside her body. With this, she understood that someone has saved her. She tried to remember what happened, but everything was fuzzy, she couldn't remember who cured her. There was a hazy memory in her mind of a handsome young man wearing white clothes, sitting in front of her, trying to wake her up. As her mind started getting clear, "Little Gold, who cured me?" The red-haired woman asked the Golden Fire Bird. In her reply, the Golden Fire Bird shook its head. But at this moment, a powerful spiritual fluctuation appeared in the air, an elegant and poised extremely beautiful lady in a purple robe appeared in the cave. Chapter 92. With Xylan, R.18, you are listening at novelfull.audio. The red-haired woman sighed in relief after seeing the purple-clothed lady. When she was injured, she had sent an emergency signal with a talisman to her master for help. The lady in the purple robe was indeed her master. "Shirmei, are you fine?" The beautiful woman squat down, catched the hand of the red-haired woman, and worriedly asked. "Master, I'm fine." Shirmei replied to the woman in a purple robe. "Let's go back to the sect," the purple-clothed lady said, and 3 of them suddenly vanished from the cave. If Feng Yun saw this, he would be shocked to the core because that was a teleportation ability that can only a divine profound cultivator could use it. The divine profound cultivator could teleport to a limited distance of hundreds of miles in just a few seconds, but could not teleport more than 1,000 miles in a single jump. After half an hour, Feng Yun returned to the cave carrying the body of the white deer and found the cave was empty. The red-haired woman and the Golden Fire Bird both had gone. "Really, slipping away without thanking?" Feng Yun said unpleasantly. At this time, Feng Yun heard a voice transmission of Yen Xylan in his mind. Feng Yun entered the Black Pagoda, appeared in front of Yen Xylan. "Feng Yun, I broke through to the Foundation Establishment realm." Yen Xylan rushed at Feng Yun while jumping, opening his arms. Feng Yun hugged her. Then, kissed her on the lips. The kiss was as passionate as it could get, and she responded by kissing back, sharing her warmth. He licked her lips and sucked her tongue. By the time the tip of his tongue entered her sweet mouth, she tingled from head to toe. Feng Yun didn't have sex for many days. As soon he saw Yen Xylan, lust spread his body. "Ah!" Yen Xylan let out a soft moan as she felt his hand arriving at her boobs, holding her right breast, caressing and squeezing. Their tongue twisted with each other, in a dance of passion, and as it continued, he moved his other hand from the back of her neck to her ass. He grabbed an ass cheek and fondled it tightly, making her squeak even as their tongues dueled with each other. One hand on her breasts, another on her ass, and their mouths planted into each other. Soon Yen Xilan started untying his robe. Feng Yun also removed her clothes impatiently. He held her twin melons in his hands as he complimented them as the most beautiful thing the heavens ever made. Feng Yun lowered his head towards her tasty breasts as he massaged them with his hand. Pushing her on the ground, Feng Yun didn't waste more time. Putting his erect penis at the wet entrance of her vagina, he pierced her pussy with his dick. With the whole staff completely inside, directly touching her base, Yen Xilan couldn't help but take a few breaths. She was always amazed at how deep he could reach inside her cave each time, making all of her moments special and filled with excitement. So deep. Yen Xilan moaned, immediately feeling Feng Yun's staff almost breaking into her womb. Her inside started pulsing as they tightly wrapped around the invader. Ah! Yen Xilan cried out right after when Feng Yun pulled out before thrusting inside strongly. She felt her mind going crazy as her cave was explored with even more intensity. Feng Yun held onto her hips as he repeatedly shoved his penis in her pussy, looking as though he was trying to pierce the heavens, his penis easily reaching the limit of her cave. So strong. Ah! I will really go crazy. Ah! At this rate. Yen Xilan's eyes were sparkling like a night sky filled with flickering stars, her gaze at Feng Yun filled with passion and desire. Ah! It's coming. Yen Xilan began twitching, and her little pussy released a stream of sparkling love juice. Feng Yun stopped his movement for a moment, allowing Yen Xilan to catch her breath. Feng Yun planted a juicy kiss on her lips. Yen Xilan wrapped her arms around the neck of Feng Yun, kissing back him passionately. Turning over, Yen Xilan pushed Feng Yun on the ground while she was sitting on his waist. My turn. Yen Xilan said playfully as she began moving her butt up and down to her liking while gently kissing him on his neck. Feng Yun's hands reach out towards her hips and start helping her with her movements. Yeesh, so good Yen Xilan moaned loudly, barely able to talk under the insane pleasure filling her body. She quickly continued her movements, wanting to please him as well, but her legs had a little difficulty as they still shivered from the pleasure. Feng Yun increased the pace, creating multiple sloppy sounds of their hips hitting against each other, his hips moving increasingly faster and stronger. He thrust inside her with immense power, reaching the deepest part. Xilan's eyes couldn't help but widen while her tongue and mouth opened up completely, feeling the power behind each strike which made her body bend uncontrollably. Coming again, Yen Xilan moaned loudly as her orgasm erupted and drenched Feng Yun's dick and waist in her love juices. I'm coming too. Feng Yun groaned, released his sperm deep inside her. Feeling the current as well, their bodies shivered together as love juices started flowing out of her, mixing together with his white semen. Few hours since Feng Yun and Yen Xilan have been doing sex. On the green grass ground, Yen Xilan had her head resting on Feng Yun's lap as he combed her beautiful hair with his hands. Xilan, I have good news for you. I got the profound ice fruit, already gave it to your mother, she should be healed in a few days. Feng Yun said. Is it true? Yen Xilan, as she lifted her face, asked with surprised expression. Yes, it is true. Feng Yun said with a smile. Thank you, Feng Yun. Yen Xilan said and kissed him. Chapter 93. Heaven Phoenix Wings. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Feng Yun went to the third floor of the Black Pagoda, soon appeared in front of the trial room of the third floor. As Feng Yun entered the bright space, a golden furred lion appeared in front of him, the same realm as Feng Yun, the initial stage foundation establishment realm. Taking a deep breath, Feng Yun calmed himself. Looking at the beast in front of him, Feng Yun cleared his mind. He slashed down his sword towards the beast in front of him. However, this golden, furred lion was much swifter and, in an instant, dodged the slash, retreating several steps. Not only was it capable of dodging Feng Yun attacks, but it was also alert since its eyes were glued to his every move. Feng Yun paused attacking, stared at the lion. He waited for the lion to come at him. The lion pounced forward, its sharp claws coming straight down at his chest. 9 Heaven Sword Art. The demonic flame appeared on his body. The flames on his body also covered the sword, and, as the lion came closer, Feng Yun chopped the sword downwards with all he had. Feng Yun didn't want to waste his time because in the trial room the sooner you defeat the enemy, the better reward you would get. The sword drew an arc as natural as the flow of water in a gentle stream, as nimbly and as elegantly as the winter snowflake, and as aloofly as the tall, unyielding mountain. The sword slowly sunk into the golden, furred lion's body. Soon its body itself dispersed. Soon an old book appeared in front of Feng Yun. Yun took the book. He could see that this was a martial skill book. The words written on it were, Heavenly Phoenix Wings, Heavenly Phoenix Wings. What a good name. I hope this technique is just as good as its name suggests, Feng Yun said to himself while looking at this book. Feng Yun opened this book and started reading. As he was reading this book page by page, his expressions were constantly changing, from curious to amazed, then to shocked, then to thoughtful, and between them regularly. As Feng Yun read the last page, he finally had a smile on his face. After finishing reading it, he closed the book. This book contained a flying type of martial skill. Feng Yun was happy as he got a flying type of martial skill. When a cultivator reached the earth profound realm, he could float in the air freely, flying. This martial skill could make a cultivator float in the air even before reaching the earth profound realm. As this martial skill's name suggested, using it, a cultivator would be able to make wings using his own chi and would be able to fly with the help of those wings. Feng Yun started to practice the heavenly phoenix wings, kept practicing for 4 hours, and finally he could form his wings. By controlling internal spirit chi with the powerful divine sense to keep it solidified, Feng Yun's internal spirit chi could be released outside, to transform into wings. Behind his back, a sudden burst of fiery aura could be seen. The flames transformed into a pair of gigantic wings rising behind his back. A fiery aura burst out with a flash and heat waves rose, looking like a pair of phoenix wings. Feng Yun fluttered his wings upward, and just within a few blinks of time, he was floating in the air. Feng Yun also let Yen Xilan practice the heavenly phoenix wings, who was very happy after getting an amazing skill. But her wings were white as crystal, because of her water element chi. After leaving the snow mountain, Feng Yun making his way to the nearest city, traveling for 10 days, Feng Yun and Yen Xilan appeared near the small city, much smaller than White Stone City. For not creating any commotion, Feng Yun and Xilan didn't use the heavenly phoenix wings in front of the people. Yen Qiu was busy in the process of healing, and Feng Guan was still hadn't woken up from her cultivation as she was absorbing the 10,000-year spirit milk. Feng Yun and Yen Xilan casually strolled around the city. The place was clean and lively, with many people entering and leaving the stores that made up the streets. Everybody there seemed to be minding their own business, but when their eyes suddenly discovered Feng Yun and Yen Xilan's presence, they all stared at her with dazed expressions. It was as though the moment they saw Yen Xilan's beautiful face, they couldn't look away. The men were mesmerized by Yen Xilan's beauty and the women were mesmerized by Feng Yun's handsome face. Undoubtedly, Feng Yun and Yen Xilan's appearance was very eye-catching, like a sparkling gem surrounded by dirty rocks. Especially in a small city filled with mortals that are not used to someone like Feng Yun and Xilan, who has such an overwhelming presence. Most of the people were only at the body refining realm, very few were at the spirit gathering realm. After walking for some time, Feng Yun decided to take a break. He randomly chose a restaurant and walked in. The owner of the restaurant was a middle-aged man with a tall and lean figure. "Waiter," Feng Yun said, sitting on the corner table with Xilan. "Yes sir, what would you like to eat?" a sweet feminine voice sounded. Then a girl, age around 17 or 18, wearing a waiter's uniform arrived in front of Feng Yun. She looked at Feng Yun and intently dazed by the handsome face of Feng Yun. The girl was a bit tall, around 1.7 meters, with a slender body and small breasts. She had short black hair and brown eyes and was wearing a simple white uniform. Although the girl could not be considered stunning, she had a kind of humble beauty. "I want 1 pot of your homemade tea and your top dishes," Fong Yun said as he examined her. Right away. Startled, as she woke up from her thoughts and said, "Then run back to the kitchen." Chapter 94. Taking the maid. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Soon, the old man with the girl waiter following behind, each carrying dishes with them. "This is your order, young master. I'm the owner of this restaurant, and she is my daughter. If you need anything else, then please tell," the old man politely said while putting the dishes on the table. After putting the dishes, the old man and the young girl start serving other customers. As Fong Yun and Xilan start drinking and eating food, a disturbance appeared in the restaurant. 3 men arrived in the restaurant, one fat young man wearing a luxurious yellow robe with 2 servants. One of them had a tall burly body shape while the other one was short and a scar on his face, reaching the 9th layer of the body refining realm. "Hey old man, where is my money?" the fat young man said to the old man. "Young masterly, please give me some more time. I will return your money as soon as possible," the old man said with a pleaded voice. "I don't have patience. Now I will give you 2 choices: either give my money or give your daughter as my servant," the fat young man said while crossing his arms, as he stared at the young girl in a waiter uniform. "No, not my daughter, I'm begging you." The old man immediately knelt on the ground and begged the fat young man. The fat young man's name was Li Wai, son of the city lord. He was known as a wicked little in the city, always relying on his father to bully men and women. If he sent his daughter to the Li Wai's house, her life would be ruined by the Li Wai. "Humph, I already give you 2 choices, choose on. You really don't take my Li family into your eyes," Li Wai said sneeringly. "Take her with us," Li Wai said arrogantly to his servant. "No. Dad," the young girl in the waiter's uniform cried and gripped her father's arm, as the man moved towards her. "Leave her alone, and take the money. Get out from here." At this time, a voice sounded in the restaurant. Fong Yun threw a pouch filled with gold coins to the fat young man and said, "Fong Yun has been watching for a long time. If the father and daughter had agreed to send his daughter, he will not intervene. After all, everyone has the freedom to do things that they wanted to do, nor he would be concerned. Compassion to help others could change their destiny. However, this guy was forcing her." Fong Yun was disgusted with Li Wai, so he chose to stop it. And little gold coins had no value to him. "Who has the guts to interfering with this young master's business?" Li Wai spoke annoyingly. He came here to take the young girl, to warm his wed tonight, but interrupted by someone. He turned around and looked at it for a moment. When Li Wai looked at the Xilan, instantly attracted by the beauty of the Xilan and has forgotten about Fong Yun. "Hey boss, look there, what a sexy woman," the man with a scar on his face said while looking at the hot body of Xilan with lustful eyes and licked his lips. A frown appeared on the face of Fong Yun's. After listening to the comment of the scar face's man, anger surfaced in his eyes, as he saw them coming towards him. The 3 men stepped forward towards the Fong Yun and Xilan. "Beauty, will you join?" Before Li Wai could complete the entire sentence, a hole appeared on his forehead, blood leaked out. His body freely dropped on the ground backward. When 2 servants saw this, they were frightened as they ran for the escape, but their speed was slower than Fong Yun's sword chi, as they were beheaded in seconds. The crowd in the restaurant hurriedly left the restaurant. Soon there were only 4 people remained in the restaurant. The father-daughter pair looked at the 3 bodies on the ground, shocked. Then looked at Fong Yun, who was still eating normally as nothing happened after killing 3 people even without moving his body. But the old man was now even more worried about the future trouble. The sole son of the city lord has killed, the city lord would hear soon, then he and her daughter's lives would end. "Young master, please leave this immediately, soonly family people coming here to take revenge," the old man bowed in front of Feng Yun and said with a slightly trembling voice, "Please take my daughter outside the city with you. Don't worry, I have caused you a problem, so I solved it before leaving." Feng Yun lifted his head and looked at the old man and calmly asked, "Can you tell me the location of the Li family house in the city?" Yes, leaving no other choice, the old man told the location. "BVEC, Xylan, wait here for a bit," Feng Yun said as vanished from the restaurant. After 15 minutes Feng Yun returned to the restaurant, making the Li family is a history in the city. "Let's go," Feng Yun said to the Yen Xylan, ready to depart from the city. As Feng Yun about to leave the restaurant, the young girl appeared in front of Feng Yun and knelt down. "Young master, I have a request." Feng Yun and Yen Xylan both were stunned. Yen Xylan stepped forward to support the girl and said, "Little sister, get up and talk, what is your name?" "Yes, miss, I am Wu Ying." The girl slowly stood up and bowed to Feng Yun and said, "Young master, can I be your servant? I will do anything for young master." She was a timid and shy girl, didn't leave his father's side in her entire life, because her mother had died due to disease. She and her father have often been bullied by others because of lacking strength. She also wanted to cultivate. Her father didn't have money to buy a cultivation technique. And now there was a chance in front of her. Feng Yun looked at the young girl in front of him curiously. Although she was not very beautiful, she has a pure soul and an innocent mind that piqued his interest. "Why me?" Feng Yun asked. "Because young master is the only person who has helped us without asking, and I feel that young master is a good person, and I want to become stronger." Wu Ying truthfully answered Feng Yun. "Feng Yun, can we take her with us? I will also get a younger sister." Yen Xylan held the hands of Wu Ying and said. Wu Ying and her father also looked at Feng Yun while waiting for his reply. "Okay." Feng Yun thought for a while then agreed. "Thank you, young master." The father-daughter thanked Feng Yun in joy. As Wu Ying about to kowtows in front of Feng Yun to give him her thanks, but Feng Yun stopped her. "It's not decent to kneel, don't do it again." Feng Yun said. "Yes, young master." Wu Ying said. Chapter 95. Wu Ying's First, R.18, you are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 95. Wu Ying's First, R.18, before the city, Feng Yun gave a recommendation later to the Wu Ying's father, sending him to the Grey Cloud town, Feng Clan, where he will be safe, also living a peaceful life. Feng Yun hired a big carriage for the journey to the Purple Lake City. After 5 days of traveling, Xylan and Wu Ying have become close as friends. Although Wu Ying was Feng Yun's maid, Xylan sees her as a younger sister. Feng Yun was lying on a bed in the carriage, while his head resting on Xylan's lap and his legs were placing on the lap of Wu Ying. Yen Xylan was caressing his hair slowly while kissing him on his lips. Wu Ying was massaging his feet slowly. Her face was red as a tomato. She lowers her head with a flushed expression, hiding her embarrassment, didn't dare to look directly at Feng Yun. She also wanted to kiss Feng Yun, but because of her status as a servant, didn't dare to take initiative. "Little sis, do you want to try?" Yen Xylan broke the kiss and looked at Wu Ying, chuckling a little. She said. "Me no. Big sis, please stop joking." Wu Ying hastily shook her head, but she was betrayed by her rosy cheeks and thumping heart. "Come here." Feng Yun extended his hand towards her. "Yes, young master," she said while moving towards Feng Yun. "Be gentle, I will come soon to get my reward." Yen Xylan whispered in Feng Yun's ears, and after giving a deep kiss, she entered the Black Pagoda. It was Wu Ying's first time, she didn't want to ruin her moment. "Kia!" Wu Ying screamed as Feng Yun grabbed her hand, making her fall on his chest. Wu Ying looked at Feng Yun with a flushed expression, but she noticed Feng Yun's gaze, turning her looked away. "Young master, where did big sister Xylan go?" Wu Ying timidly asked, while curiously staring at the empty place where Xylan was sitting. Now she was alone with Feng Yun, she became more nervous. She will come soon, Feng Yun said while hugging her slim waist. Feng Yun kissed her on her lips. She opened her eyes wide, trying to understand what was happening, but only saw Feng Yun's eyes looking right into hers. She slowly closed her eyes, enjoying the kiss. Breaking the last barrier of her mind, Feng Yun pushed his tongue inside her mouth. After a few seconds, she also started to collaborate with him. Feng Yun's tongue dived into hers, and they intertwined in a passionate struggle of rising heat. Wu Ying breathed heavily, trying to catch her breath after the long kiss. Her face had turned completely red and her body was strangely hot. It was the first time she felt like this, so she was a bit afraid. Gently, Feng Yun drove her on the bed, while himself moving on top of her. Slowly removing her green dress. Soon 2 cute little breasts came to his view that fit perfectly in his hand. "Young master, do you think they are too small?" Wu Ying said. When he started touching her small breasts as she was very insecure about that part of her body. Bvec Feng Yun paused a second before keep caressing her little breasts. "Yes, a little small, but I like them," Feng Yun said with a smile. He kissed her on her lips, his tongue then trailed onto her neck with one hand cupping her breast and the other unfastening her undergarments at a measured pace. As he passionately kissed and bit her neck, her last fabrics were quickly laid on the bed and her erect nipples brought to his mouth and fingers. "Ah!" Wu Ying moaned with her vagina overflowing with juice. Feng Yun's tongue slid down, trailing on her body while his hands played with her sensitive area. And when Feng Yun reached her sacred garden, slowly and lovingly opened the pink inner walls of her sweet pussy. He was gentle but still enough to make Wu Ying squirm with pleasure as she moaned loudly. Feng Yun started kissing Wu Ying's wet vagina as his movements went wild, his tongue dived in, devouring her vagina with no restraint. Young master, ah." Listening to her loud moan, Feng Yun's rod has become erect ready to pierce her little virgin cave. Feng Yun removed his clothes and pressed his hardened penis against her vagina. "It will hurt a little, okay?" Feng Yun said. He entered slowly, his penis head slowly expanding the inner wall of her vagina. The tightness of Wu Ying's virgin pussy making Feng Yun moaned with pleasure. He kept going slowly until his penis reached something that slightly blocked it. Feng Yun gave her a kiss on her lips, then with a quick thrust, he shoved his penis into the vagina, breaking her hymen. "Arg! Young master, it hurts." She groaned as a jolt of pain struck her, and blood trailed from her broken hymen, tears leaked out the corner of her eyes. "It's all right, the pain will go soon." Feng Yun paused a second, wiping her tears, he kissed her on her closed eyes and said. Listening to his tender voice, she tightly wrapped her arm around his neck. After a few seconds, she relaxed a bit and her vagina's wall slowly adjusted around his penis. Feng Yun pushed his penis deeper inside, at first slowly then gradually increasing the pace as her vagina grew more accustomed to his penis. Out of instinct, Wu Ying tightly wrapped her legs around Feng Yun's waist. The pain soon disappeared and only pleasure remained. Feng Yun moved his waist up and down and attacked her vagina repeatedly. The sloppy sound of fast penetration combined with uncontrolled moaning sounded in the carriage. Feng Yun already had placed a restriction layer with divine sense around the walls of the carriage so noise could not be leaked outside. Pa pa pa. Feng Yun moved his waist, pushing his penis in her vagina, causing Wu Ying moaned with a great amount of pleasure. "Ah, young master, something weird is coming." "Ah." She groaned an orgasm as her entire body shivered with excitement. Feng Yun flipped her onto her front, making her on 4, her ass facing against him, thrust his dick in her cave, taking her from behind. Feng Yun kissed her neck and with his hands squeezed her breasts. Pa pa pa. Feng Yun held her waist as he began pistoning at his faster speed. With her pussy being pounded continuously so fast, Wu Ying could only moan incoherently and orgasm again and again. Grabbing her shoulder, Feng Yun pulled her up, turning her head around she took Feng Yun's lips by surprise and kissing him, started battle of the tongues. While kissing and biting on her neck he blew up his hot semen inside her womb. Wu Ying almost screamed from how hot her inside were after being covered in Feng Yun's semen. Chapter 96 Feng Guan's Day, R.18, you are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 96 Feng Guan's Day, R.18, Feng Yun was lying on the bed looking at the Wu Ying who was sitting in a lotus position absorbing yang qi released by Feng Yun. She was a mortal girl who didn't have cultivation, so it will take her some time to absorb Feng Yun's yang qi. Yan Xilan was guiding Wu Ying in her cultivation. She slowly narrated the process of absorbing the yang qi. Wu Ying's cultivation base soared like a dragon piercing heaven. Currently, inside Wu Ying's body was like a volcano that had recently erupted. Her cultivate base had skyrocketed directly entering the 6th layer of body refining. She had 6 levels in a matter of moments after absorbing the half yang qi, not to mention her physique also changed, her skin became much fairer smooth as jade, her beautiful face became more stunning increasing her charm many times. Because she started her cultivation with Feng Yun's yang qi, the quality of her internal spirit qi was much pure and firm. Yan Xilan came to Feng Yun and sat down on his lap. It might take her a few hours to fully absorb your yang qi. Yan Xilan said in low voice, not disturbing Wu Ying. Feng Yun nodded and embraced her waist, started kissing her. But at this time Feng Yun sensed something in the black pagoda. A slight smile appeared on her face, as he saw with the divine sense that Feng Guan completed her practice. Feng Guan has come out, take care of Wu Ying, I'm going to meet Guaner. Feng Yun said as he kissed her on her forehead, then entering the black pagoda. Yan Xilan was lightly disappointed as she was about to get her reward but interrupted in the middle but soon nodded her head while she diverted her focus on Wu Ying. Hoping that Wu Ying finished her cultivation soon as possible, then join with Feng Yun. Entering the black pagoda, Feng Yun appeared in front of the trial room, appearing in front of Feng Guan who just stepped outside the trial room. Feng Yun. Feng Yun startled for a second, but seeing it was Feng Yun in front of her, she jumped on his arms. Feng Yun held her back by the ass while she put her legs around his waist. She started kissing Feng Yun. Because of the reunion after so many days, Feng Guan was kissing him more wildly. She held his head with both hands and seemed to be trying to devour his tongue in a mess that mixed their saliva in a way that could only be described as extremely lustful. Feng Yun waved his hand. A king-sized bed appeared. After placing her on the bed, he also jumped up on the bed and started a kiss again. Feng Yun hugged her waist and pressed his body against her. He continued sucking her lips and his tongue easily penetrated her defenses and entered her mouth. A moan escaped Feng Guan's mouth and her eyes closed involuntarily. Their tongues intertwined inside Feng Guan's mouth. Feng Guan's tongue began to move with Feng Yun's. A thread of saliva connected our lips when we separated our mouths. Feng Guan's pussy began to turn moist, and excitement began to fill inside her. She began to move her hands around Feng Yun's body, from his chest until his neck. He stroked her legs gently and kissed her neck. Another moan escaped her lips. Ah! Feng Yun, her words sounded enticing to his ears. One of his hands grabbed her chest and began to play with it. It intensified Feng Guan's lust even more. Biting her lips, Feng Guan enjoyed the pleasure invading her body was turning softer and hotter with each second. Her skin became sensitive, and every movement of his hands caused her intense pleasure. The smell of pheromones filled the room completely. Ah! Hearing her tone of voice, Feng Yun could not help but bite slightly her neck. Feng Guan shuddered unconsciously and let out a loud moan. Feng Yun's other hand moved between her legs. His hands touched her moist cave and felt the shrubs surrounding it. Feng Yun smiled and traced his fingers around her sacred place. Feng Guan felt a shudder running through her body with each movement of his fingers. Love juice began to flow from her cave in great amounts. Her sight turned completely blank and her body lost her strength. It was an orgasm. Ah! Her body turned completely soft, and love juices flowed from her lower cave. Ha, 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 Feng Yun, give me. Feng Guan began to pant softly. Kissing her lips, he raised her legs and put his waist in front of her cave. With one movement, Feng Yun's penis entered her moist cave. That's so tight. He let out a groan of satisfaction and savored the feeling of Feng Guan's vagina. Calmly, he pierced her until the womb. His penis entered completely into her cave and a gasp escaped her lips. "Eh." Feng Guan moaned. Feng Yun smiled proudly and began to move up and down. Feng Guan bit her lips to suppress her moans, but before long, she became unable to endure. Little by little, lewd sounds filled the room. "Ah, yes, faster." She groaned with an expression of lust and love. A strong pleasure began to fill her body, and love juices began to flow from her pussy. Feng Yun's hand grabbed a nipple, and with mouth sucked another. Feng Guan drew a cold breath and moaned as he bit her nipple strongly, leaving red teeth marks. Her vagina tightened around his penis, almost making him groan loudly. Feng Yun responded to it, increases the strength of his thrusts. "AAA, so good. Feng Yun. AAA." She continued moaning, her body was moving in sync with his. Their tongues entwined again and our fluids filled the bed. Slowly, Feng Yun began to feel something building inside his penis. He did not hesitate to increase his pistoning speed, causing Feng Guan to moan louder. He grabbed her arms and pressed her down with all his body while thrusting inside her intensely. Feng Guan's mind became blank. The intense joy of sex filled her. She was enjoying the lovemaking session. Ah. So deep. Yes, I missed this. His penis moved repeatedly inside her and reached the deepest part of her cave. Finally, she felt an intense burst of pleasure coming over her. "Ugh! I'm coming!" She shouted and hugged him tightly. Feng Yun did not stop and continued thrusting fiercely while observing her lewd face. Chapter 97. Feng Guan's Anal, R.18, you are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 97. Feng Guan's Anal, R.18, before long, Feng Guan's body twitched. "No," she screamed, and a great amount of love juice flowed from her cave. Feng Yun slowed momentarily his movements, but when he noticed she finished coming, he intensified them again. Feng Guan groaned in pain and pleasure. She wanted to ask him to stop, but when she was his teasing gaze, she was unable to form the words. Feng Yun moved faster and faster, deeper and deeper. His penis touched her womb, exciting him completely. Feng Yun could not help but press his Feng Guan below and move even faster. "An. So pleasurable on. Hearing Aunt Guan's loud moans, he put even more strength on his waist and pierced forward. Aunt Guan was unable to endure the torture and bit his shoulders. With that as the signal, she orgasmed for the second time. Feng Yun put on an excited expression and pierced again. A flood of white liquid flowed from his penis and filled the Feng Guan's womb, making her moan incoherently. She had completely drowned in pleasure. He turned her body around, holding her waist. Feng Yun pushed his waist forward and made his entire dick enter Feng Guan's pussy. He spanked her ass, making her butt bounce and jiggle. "Ah!" she cried in ecstasy. "Feng Yun poured your semen inside me." Feng Guan moaned loudly. With those words, Feng Yun thrust his dick deeper than ever before and blew his load at the depths of her pussy. At the same time, Feng Guan also cummed, collapsing on the bed while her butt sticking out. Feng Yun paused for a second, as he began to massage her slightly red butt before sticking his finger in her second cute little cave. Ah. Feng Yun, this feels weird. Feng Guan moaned and said. Feng Yun applied some lubricant on her second hole, then taking out his dick placed it at the little entrance of her second cave. Feng Yun, wait. Not in there. It's too big for that. Ah. Suddenly, she cried out as felt something she didn't expect. Feng Yun caressed her butt, bending over he kissed on her neck, and said slowly, it's all right. And Feng Yun thrusted his penis into her closed second cave. Ah, it's so big, she screamed when she felt his fat cock stretching her tight asshole open. With tremendous effort, he eventually pushed everything in then paused to savor the feeling. Ah. It feels so good. Aunt, your asshole is so tight, Feng Yun moaned with pleasure as he felt the tightness of her virgin asshole. Her knees gave in, but he held her up. With a bit of effort, he pushed the rest of it in, then started thrusting. Feng Guan moaned like a lunatic with his dick fucking her in her ass. Aim. Aunt Guan's eyes opened wide, and her mind blanked. Her face turned completely lewd under his movements. He kissed her softly behind her ear and massaged her supple breasts before he passionately thrusted his dick back inside her. Using his fingers to squeeze Feng Guan's both pale pink nipples, Feng Yun gave them a soft pinch causing Feng Guan to moan. He licked his lips and savored the feeling of piercing her second cave. His penis moved inside and outside repeatedly while slapping sounds came from his body slamming on her ass. She put her mouth on the bed and grabbed the sheets. Her body shook repeatedly under his assault, and the muffled moans provoked him a pleasurable feeling of conquest. Their breathing turned ragged and their bodies became sweaty. The feeling of piercing Aunt Guan's ass was so wonderful that he could not endure it and bit her back, causing her to lift her face with a scream and tighten the walls of her moist cave. The increased pressure provoked his animal's instincts even more. He moved faster and faster, slamming his body against her. Aunt Guan was completely drunk in pleasure. She had become unable to speak and could only moan, groan, and scream repeatedly. Finally, Feng Yun feels something hot forming on his abdomen. Without hesitation, he accelerated his pistoning. His breath became quicker and his penis moved constantly inside her. Aunt, I'm going to shoot. He shouted and held her ass. Feng Guan just moaned in consent, unable to speak, while feeling her own climax approaching. Finally, he was unable to endure. His penis pierced her second cave completely, hitting the deepest part and shooting all the semen inside it. Aunt Guan was unable to endure the sudden pleasure and screamed. Her body shuddered completely and a flood of love juice came out of her pussy. Her asshole wrapped tightly around his penis, sucking the last bit of his semen and making him groan in delight. As Feng Yun and Feng Guan were busy in lovemaking, in the carriage Wu Ying opened her eyes. After hours of cultivation, while absorbing yang qi of Feng Yun, her cultivation reached at the peak of the body refining realm, a half step away from the spirit gathering realm. You woke up. Yan Xilan said when saw Wu Ying opened her eyes. Big sister Yan, thank you for guidance. Wu Ying said as bowed in front of Yan Xilan. Don't do again, I told you, we are sisters, now let's go to Feng Yun. Xilan stopped her and said. While sending her divine sense to Feng Yun in the Black Pagoda. I'm taking you to a special place, don't resist okay. After getting Feng Yun's approval, Xilan said while holding Ying's hand, then she entered the Black Pagoda with Wu Ying. In the carriage, on the bed, there was only a tiny black pagoda remained in the carriage. Chapter 98. Double Pleasure, R.18, you are listening at novelfull.audio. Feng Yun was on the bed, Feng Guan was lying on his left side resting her head on his shoulder after having hard sex with Feng Yun. At this time, Yan Xilan with Wu Ying arrived in the room. Wu Ying was a shy girl, her face turned red after seeing naked Feng Yun and Feng Guan. She lowered her head while hiding her flushed face with her hands. Yan Xilan was impatient as she already aroused, quickly removing her clothes, climbing on the bed she kneeled in front of his erect dick. I missed you, as she knelt and kissed the tip of the dick of Feng Yun. Then, she began to lick from the top to the bottom. Adding kissing and stroking, soon swallowed the dick. Moving her head forward and backward with gentleness. Inger. Remove your clothes and come here. Feng Yun showed a dazzling smile towards Wu Ying, who was standing there in front of the bed like a statue, and said, "Yes, master." Wu Ying could not refuse Feng Yun as she hurriedly removed her clothes, climbing to the bed from the right side. Feng Yun smiled at her as he could feel her embarrassment. Then, Wu Ying did a surprise attack as she planted a kiss on his lips. It was an innocent one, but Feng Yun definitely isn't an innocent man. His tongue immediately went forward and attacked the young maid. Kissing lewdly without holding back. Feng Yun's hand that was on her waist went below to grab the peach ass. His hands were massaging her ass so violently that Wu Ying got surprised at his violent movement. Feng Yun moved his finger and put it inside her pussy. It was so sudden that Wu Ying lightly bent her body. Then, going against her garden's walls, he was searching for her sensitive spots and was finding them quite quickly. Ah! Here. Wu Ying moaned loudly as love juice flowed out of her cave. Yan Xilan was taking care of his dick while Wu Ying was kissing him as he was deep inside her pussy with his fingers. After giving blowjob for a while, Xilan took out the dick from her mouth. "Little sis, how about I teach you some techniques?" Xilan mischievously smiled, which made Wu Ying lightly tremble as she heard her words. Feng Yun's eyes met with Xilan. He instantly understood the meaning of her words. "Which technique, big sis?" "Come here." Xilan guided Wu Ying. Wu Ying slowly moved her face closer to the dick. Now kissed the tip slowly and started licking it. "Big and smells so nice." Wu Ying thought to himself, as she approached her lips to the dick. She just closed her eyes as she put her lips on the dick tightly. The glances from Feng Yun and Xilan made her be extremely embarrassed. Feng Yun smiled at Wu Ying, who was just like a little kitten. Imitating Yan Xilan, she began with a light kiss on the tip, then changing from big licks to small ones. Just like that, Wu Ying was slowly falling deeper in her lust. She began licking his rod as though she was licking ice cream. "It's sweet." After licking it for a few minutes, she opened her mouth and slowly began putting it in her mouth. "It's bigger and stronger than I thought," she thought to herself when she realized that it had barely fit into her mouth. And after taking a moment to familiarize herself with the feeling of having a Feng Yun's rod in her mouth, she started moving her head up and down. Feng Yun smiled gently as he watched Wu Ying suck his rod. It felt like he was watching an innocent girl eating candy for the first time. And although her techniques were horrible with barely any sucking force, the soft feeling of her tongue and the warmth of her mouth were heavenly. Xilan didn't stay idly when Wu Ying was doing her job. She as well approached Feng Yun's dick and began licking and kissing its bottom, putting his balls in her mouths, sucking them skillfully. Smooch nnhn. Under the attack of their tongues, it didn't take long for Feng Yun to show signs of white energy release. His weapon was trembling and the women made their attacks faster. As the white energy was approaching, Feng Yun put his hand on the back of Wu Ying's head and put some pressure on her head, pushing his dick deeper in her mouth. Wu Ying almost choked as the enlarged rod of Feng Yun entered her throat. Ugh! Screaming silently through her blocked mouth, Wu Ying began choking a little, causing her throat to tighten around Feng Yun's rod. "So good." "Ah!" Feng Yun groaned. With one last push, he sent his hot semen straight into her throat while holding her head from backing away. Wu Ying let out a suppressed sound as she choked on the thick liquid. After some efforts, she swallowed his entire warm semen. As Feng Yun released her head, she freed his dick from her mouth, breathed loudly. "Little sis, do you like the taste? There is still some left," Xilan said as she began licking Feng Yun's dick, cleaning the remaining last few drops of semen which poured out from his dick. On her fore, she approached the hard rod which trembling with excitement. She raised her body and sat down, swallowing the rod with her most special place. Then, she began her movement. She didn't hold back as her hips were moving up and down as fast as she could. The sound of their bodies clashing was pleasant to hear. Yes. Yes. I love it. Xylan moaned loudly. In this position it allowed his dick to reach deeper into her pussy. Pa. With a swift motion Fong Yun spanked her meaty ass. Aha. Yes, Fong Yun spanked me more and harder. Xylan screamed suddenly as his palm hit her butt, and electricity ran throughout her entire body. Pa, pa, aw. Yelping from pain and shock in the beginning, Xylan herself didn't know when her scream turned into a moan. Chapter 99. Pleasure Day, R.18, you are listening at novelfull.audio. Is Big Sis really a masochist? Wu Ying thought to herself after seeing the energized expression of Xylan. Oh! Xylan's pussy twitched and squeezed Fong Yun's penis tightly every time he spanked her ass, making her moan. Xylan was making many cute moans as she moved on Fong Yun's penis. She moved back and forth, up and down, sometimes side to side. Anyway, she was doing everything to take his dick in every part of her pussy. While Xylan and Fong Yun were moaning and enjoying each other, the cute maid was drooling while staring at Fong Yun's cock entering Xylan's pussy. Wu Ying wanted it so much that her fingers kept playing with her eager pussy. But her fingers weren't helping much because she had already experienced Fong Yun's penis, and the pleasure he gave her made anything else seem infinitely inferior. Fong Yun noticed the pleading look of Wu Ying, but he couldn't rush things with Xylan. In fact, it looked like she would last longer than Fong Guan. He held out a hand to Wu Ying. Come, my little maid. I will help you feel good. Wu Ying hesitated for a moment, then jumped on Fong Yun's chest, starting a passionate kiss. Fong Yun let Xylan move as she wanted on his cock while he kissed and caressed Wu Ying. Sit on my chest. She sat on his chest, and he moved her over his face so that he could suck and lick her sweet pink flower. Fong Yun stared at the beautiful pink cave that hung above his face, and his hands grabbed Wu Ying's soft butt cheeks. He then pulled her cave towards his mouth. Feeling something entering her tight cave, Wu Ying trembled from the intense euphoric feeling in her body. The tingling sensation caused her to moan repeatedly, feeling as though all the strength in her body was being absorbed by a mysterious force. Master, please more. Lick it more. Wu Ying said in an alluring voice. Hearing her passionate plea, Fong Yun pushed his entire tongue into her tight cave, sucking her vagina. Yes. A few moments later, Wu Ying could feel the peeing sensation coming. Master, it's here, she exclaimed loudly, and her body began twitching vigorously. A second later, her body released a mouthful of love juice that went directly into Fong Yun's mouth. While Fong Yun took care of their pussies, Xylan was getting closer and closer to orgasm while his cock made her mind start to go blank. She increased the speed of her pussy going up and down on Fong Yun's cock. When the pleasure reached the peak, she sat on his hips and took his cock as deep inside her as she could get it. I'm coming. Xylan loudly moaned and had an incredible orgasm. While Fong Yun felt her love juices flow down his cock. He didn't hold back and shot his hot load inside her. Ah! So hot. So good. Xylan rolled her eyes while her tongue was sticking out as she felt Fong Yun's warm essence filled her womb. Xylan and Wu Ying breathed in an exhausted manner, after having an extreme orgasm. Wu Ying dropped on the bed on his right side. Fong Yun was also delighted. Drinking Wu Ying's sweet love juices while coming inside Xylan's hot pussy was undoubtedly fantastic. Still, he has a lot of energy to continue. Xylan lay beside Fong Yun, giving Wu Ying a chance to enjoy Fong Yun's dick. It's your turn now. Fong Yun sit up and said. Wu Ying nodded her head while sitting on Fong Yun's lap while facing his face. She moved up a little and placing the tip of the rod at the entrance of her vagina and sat down slowly. Hugging her body, Feng Yun could feel Wu Ying's body shivering as the rod entered her cave. Ah! Wu Ying made a long and low moan as she felt Feng Yun's hard cock enter her. Feng Yun kissed her, while moving his penis inside her, continued to kiss her neck, moving towards her nipples. He bit her nipples as he sucked her erect red pearls. Wu Ying pressed his head close to her chest as she felt his actions on her breasts. Wu Ying loved the feel of Feng Yun's cock inside her and started pounding her ass against his hip with increasing strength. Wu Ying's cock made a mess of her tight insides. Ahaha! Master, move harder. Ah! Wu Ying continued to moan loudly as the intense heat in her body did not pause. Feng Yun moved his waist faster and harder, her eyes were rolled all the way back, and her slim body curved upwards like a bridge. Clearly, she didn't mind Feng Yun being rough with her, even finding it extremely pleasing with her body screaming with lust. Ah! 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 Her pink hole has naturally shaped itself to fit the frame of Feng Yun's rod perfectly, flawlessly wrapping itself around him to ensure that both of them were enjoying each other to the fullest. In the small wooden house, a beautiful lady was sitting in the lotus position. Suddenly, a powerful spiritual chi fluctuated from the woman's body and spread in every direction in the small world. The beautiful woman was Yen Xilan's mother, who was absorbing the profound ice fruit and curing her illness for many days. After absorbing the profound ice fruit, not only her illness have a cure but her cultivation also returned, but not entirely peak stage. If Feng Yun was here at this moment, he would be extremely shocked after seeing the new look of Yen Qiu. She became more beautiful, her appearance was not lower than daughter, but it was not all. Her current cultivation stage has reached the initial stage of the gold core realm. Her cultivation base was higher than sect master of the Seven Sword sect. Yen Qiu moved in front of the mirror and looked at her charming figure. While looking at her hot and sexy figure, she thought about Feng Yun but soon distracted her thoughts.